The class of 2016 will be the greatest track and field class in history.
Sprints, hurdle, distance, jumper.
Has the potential to be better than 2001. So much untapped potential.
Noah Lyles,
Vashti Cunningham,
Bryce Hopper,
Drew Hunter,
Grant Holloway,
Anna Cockrell,
Michael Norman.
Whether it's men, whether it's women,
These people are trying to rewrite record books.
there's that bit of high school folklore that lends itself to the legend of certain athletes. Noah Lyles kind of had that in high school. He ran a 9.9 hand time. What are your thoughts on maybe folklore like that or local legend type stuff?
That's just the sort of thing that builds the legend. I did hear of Noah's exploits back in high school, and that to me, that just added to the anticipation of seeing him at the Olympic trial.
So Noah Lyles was one of those athletes that growing up, you could see him running some great times. He was a phenomenal high jumper. I want to say he did 6'4", 6'8" in middle school, something crazy like that. And he's the son of 2 All-American NCAA runners. So he had a lot of pedigree in him for running and performing at a high level. He grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. Ended up going to T.C. Williams High School, which is the Remember the Titans high school. 13 was his first year at T.C. Williams, which was the last year of the AAA state meet in Virginia. He was good. I mean, there were some really, really good runners running against him. But by his sophomore year, with his brother Josephus, they really rose to the top and started to make waves in the sport. Josephus actually won a national title as a sophomore in the 400 before Noah did. By the indoor season of their junior campaigns, though, Noah became a different athlete.
It is Lyles, Clark, and Benjamin. They could be the 3 best sprinters this indoor season. The accolades.
I'll never forget the first time he won a national title was the 200-meter dash. I believe Ry Benjamin and Ryan Clark were in that race with him. He's on the inside. And in a 200, it's a short race indoors, and the straightaways are 50 meters long at the Armory.
The sprints. Here we go. Who's out strong right now?
That's Ryan Clark out very strong in 5 in the gray. He's already gained a little ground on Benjamin. Let's see if Lyles can have an answer or Benjamin can have an answer.
Clark ran a 21 flat earlier in the season. Clark really eats up Benjamin right now. It's
here comes Lyles on the inside. Let's see if he can walk him down. Lyles on the inside. Noah Lyles.
And you just see him accelerating down the home stretch to pass him. And he did that in high school with those 2 phenomenal runners that went on to, have great prominent careers and still could make the Olympics. And he just has that next gear.
2083, Noah Lyles from T.C. Williams. He hits the track in celebration.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the second fastest time ever by a high schooler and the 3rd fastest time ever by a high school.
Number 2
and 3.
And he ended up winning that. That was his first national title. By his senior year, though, he can win whatever he wants.
And that's Noah.
He's running 10.08 in the pouring rain at outdoor nationals. Things that people don't realize he ran. He split 45 at the Penn Relays as a senior.
T.C. Williams hanging it. Noah Lyles on the track now for T.C. Williams of Virginia.
He was the guy that all the Jamaicans were talking about.
Jamaica Collins in 2nd right now. St. Jago in 3rd. Noah Lyles running in 4th. What a leg from him, the Virginian.
Williams.
Now, can they let Josephus get in it? Can T.C. Williams is
wow,
back to the
look
top.
At that leg.
Noah Lyles to head off the lead. What a leg. Noah Lyles, T.C. Williams.
And that's one of the best compliments you can say about a high school athlete is when the Jamaicans, because they are really knowledgeable on high school runners, came to that meet to see what Noah Lyles would do. And both him and his brother Josephus were splitting 45s.
T.C. Williams, though, don't count him out for
Josephus,
second.
Josephus Lyles.
in high school in the 4x4. He ran second and Josephus ran anchor. And it was just beautiful to see him run because they could take over any single race and still can to this day.
Jamaica College doing it as Michael Taylor goes. Jamaica College holds them off. Calabar second, Josephus Lyles anchors from the third.
Yeah, I did hear of Noah's exploits back in high school, and that to me, that just added to the anticipation of seeing him at the Olympic trial. To see a high schooler come to the Olympic trials and he's beating Justin Gatlin in the rounds, and he's, he wasn't that far from making the Olympic team that went to Rio. I think just sort of added to people saying, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on this guy, because it's one thing to have the hype because you're in high school, you're beating high schoolers. He's out here beating pros, and he came very close to making the actual team.
Running 20.0 or 20.1 in high school in the 200, got fourth at the Olympic trials.
I truly had no idea what place one was. I was like, okay, that was fast. What was the time? All right, first was pretty fast. I might dip under 19. This would be really cool if I dip under 19. I'm like, I see first and second. I'm like, those are fast. I see third. I'm like, not third. But fourth, hey, I got fourth. That's pretty cool. And then it's like new high school record. That's even cooler.
Yeah, and that 20.09 at the trials, the closest any high schooler has ever come to breaking 20 seconds. Was that maybe like his biggest moment up until that point?
Yeah, but I think it was a combination of the times and who he was beating, because let's face it, if he had made the team and run 20.29, nobody would care about the time. The more significant thing is making the team. He came very close to making the team. And I think that's when you then look and say, oh, okay, so what time did he run? Oh, he broke the national high school record.
So I was pretty excited. Somebody said that I was probably the happiest fourth place winner. And I was like, yeah, I think I am too.
The big milestone moment for Noah at the international stage at that young age was in Poland when he won a World U20 title in the 100, ended up winning the 4x1 as well. He was expected to go to college.
I remember going up in 2016 going up to T.C. Williams High School to see where Noah and Josephus Lyles were going to go to college.
Hey, this is Nolan Jess from MileSplit.com. We're here with T.C. Williams, the best sprinters in the entire country. Noah and Josephus Lyles just signed their national letter of intent.
They were having their signing day. I had just been to Grand Holloway's, actually, and he was going to the University of Florida, and lo and behold, both Noah and Josephus had signed with the University of Florida, and it was going to be a powerhouse because they already had a 10 flat runner and Ryan Clark there, and then you have three guys that could run 10 flat and run 45 point there. I don't know if Florida would have lost a single race at NCAA's, but just before they went down to campus, they ended up turning pro with Adidas.
Well, that's a very personal decision, and a lot of kids who do well at the junior level, they have that offer, and for most of them, doesn't work out that well. But I think you can look at Noah and say it has worked out very, very well for him.
So he ended up never running in college, but turned pro with Adidas. And looking back, it's probably the best deal Adidas has ever made. You know, looking into their stock and what they got for that, you know, Noah's become probably the face of their brand heading into this Olympic year.
Well, I think if you looked at his times, you certainly thought that he was one to watch for the future. Somebody like me is usually a little guarded against stuff like that because we've seen so many young upstarts come on the scene, and then especially in high school, and then they aren't able to make the transition. Noah not only made the transition, he made it almost seamlessly because barring an injury, I think he'd have been the world champion the next year in 2017. But he embarked upon his pro career and had almost immediate success. Noah Lyles is one of the blueprints, I think, for how you make that transition from the high school ranks, going pro, and just keeping it going.
Why was he a good blueprint of going from high school to pro?
Because I think he was brought along in the right way. He certainly had, a good family support. His brother went pro with him. He was put in a good situation, I think, with Lance Brahman in Orlando, where he is the male focus of that group. that Noah is a 200-meter specialist. And I think that's probably the event that Lance coaches the best. It was sort of a good marriage. And that's why I think he immediately started to, he started to blow up. He started to have really, really special performances, literally his first year out of high school.
Noah, since turning pro, has kind of found his sweet spot in the 200. I believe his first real major win was the indoor USA title that he's broke the world record in the 300, which is an off event, so it's technically the world all-time best. But from there, that was kind of the thing that a lot of people started recognizing his name. And then, he's running these times that are unheard of. People kept missing that even though he wasn't running the fastest times in the 100 and the 200 in the world at that time, he was year over year ahead of Usain Bolt heading into the 08 Olympics.
He started to get locked in 2018 in a way that I think, he was tying Usain Bolt records, breaking Usain Bolt meet records. And then in terms of his consistency, he started to separate himself and already be up, put himself up there with some of the greats. I think his average time for that season was as good as anybody else's in the history of the event, including people like Michael Johnson and some of the legends that have come before him. So it wasn't just that he was winning races. He was dominant, and he was dominant and fast every time. Every time that he stepped on the track, he was running something that you were like, wow, either personal best or near personal best or an all-time great time.
And we're talking about sizable differences in the times. So you go into 2019, which is the preamble for the Olympics, because the World Championships are in 2019. They're always 1 year before the Olympics. And that's kind of a lot of athletes coming out parties. And Noah made the choice to focus on the 200. And obviously, no one could touch him at that event, especially at Worlds. Ended up winning the world title in the 200, his first time at it. And it left a lot of people wondering, all right, he won the 200, so he's kind of the heir apparent in that front. And then since then, he's run some really fast 100 times and 60 times that people are like, all right, maybe he's also the guy that's going to be the heir apparent in the 100 as well. So it was really leading up to not only him running some monster performances, but him running maybe world records and, winning gold medals at his first Olympics, which would have been 2020. So the thing about these elite athletes like Noah Lyles it's not just about running big races and running in some big meets and getting some prize money. For an athlete like Noah Lyles, his goal is Olympic gold, world records. And that means years and years of planning. So when things shut down, that just it can't be understated how crazy that is for an elite athlete, where their goal is not to make the Olympics. It's a total different ballgame when you're trying to make an Olympic team or you're trying to win gold, because you're not trying to peak at trials, you're trying to peak at the games. And that's, I think, the difference between Noah Lyles and a lot of people, where COVID and the shutdown has really affected him and his ability to train and compete, because a lot of this stuff has been planned for 4 years. He went pro in 2016. There was a 4-year plan. I'm certain of that he was building towards this crescendo and this peak when everything gets shut down.
Now that he's starting to branch out and go after the 100 and the 200, I think he is finding the 100, certainly this year, a lot more difficult than he thought. And I've been fielding a lot of questions this week from reporters saying, is it just us, or is Noah not looking like he's going to make this 100-meter team? And I go, this is a superstar. This is somebody who will rise to the occasion. You guys are looking at the so-called regular season and thinking, well, he doesn't look that sharp, he doesn't look that good. I too have felt like he has not been himself. Dating back to indoors, he had a disastrous indoor season where you just went, whoa, that's not the Noah we used to see. I think I've been looking a little deeper, when's the last time you see Noah dance before a race? I haven't seen that this year. The joy with which he competes, I think something has been missing there. And look, we know what the last year has looked like. All of us have gone through we've dealt with the pandemic and our industry shutting down and the Olympics being postponed and all of that stuff. And maybe that's part of it, but I'm just speculating here. All I know is the Noah that I have covered for the last 5 seasons He doesn't look like that Noah yet. Don't write off Noah just yet. I've covered him enough to know that you count him out or write him off at your peril, because he's too talented to be discarded. Guys like him get ready for the biggest stages that we have in this sport, and there are very few stages bigger than the Olympic trials, or Worlds, or the Olympics. And so far he has done very well at Worlds, and so far he's done very good at the Olympic trials.
Noah Lyles is going to be the star of the games. I mean, we're talking about people that aren't going to be just running track races. They're going to be on Visa commercials in the Wheaties box and stuff like that.
On all the NBC promos, there's only one track and field athlete. It's Noah Lyles. There's a reason for that. I think in addition to that, the world started to see, oh, he's more than just a sprinter. He has a lot of character, he's a lot of personality, he's an artist, he's into other things. And I think when people are seeing you winning races by big margin, and then you are entertaining the crowd after, that's the kind of thing that people remember. And when people remember you, that's what makes you a superstar. Because superstars are known for not just what they do as their profession. It's like, I like what you do as a professional, but I also like the other things that you do that I don't see everybody else doing.
Noah's really molded not only his athletic acumen and his ability, but his brand as well to be top notch. And that's why I think like the 2021 games in Tokyo is going to be his party, where it's like Usain Bolt's, where people didn't know that Usain Bolt ran and had some great times before, or that Usain Bolt had been to the Athens Games. But 2008, when you win 3 races and set 3 world records, people start to know who you are. And that's the type of year that Noah Lyles is looking for. He's not looking just to win some races and some gold medals. He's trying to be the star of the games. And that takes, I mean, you're talking about there's 305 or 306 gold medals given out at the Olympics. And to be the star of the games, you have to be on another level to another level. And that's who Noah Lyles is.